Howdy everyone, I'm Doug Howe. I want to welcome you to the next Positive Gravity. Today I'm going to be working with this really nice big piece of mimosa wood. This is another piece of that mimosa tree that came down in the January 2024 ice storm in the Willamette Valley. This was just in my neighborhood, so I got a bunch of it. I'm going to give you a little look at it here. I've already mounted the faceplate and I've removed the bark. This bark came off just in one nice big piece. It was already getting loose on the edges, so I just removed it. That's fine. I've made a little flat spot here for the faceplate that is oriented just right so that I'm trying to get the balance of the curve here to be sort of symmetrical. That's the goal here. This piece isn't entirely symmetrical. You can see the thickness on this side is about 3 inches, and on this side it's maybe more like 5 or 6 inches. So, you know, I can't just simply put this in the middle and expect it to come out kind of balanced. So what I've done is this is shifted over to the left a little bit, and that is to get this side taller. I've drawn a circle here that is as big as I can make it, basically from this edge to where this side is about the same height as this edge. So basically I've shifted the whole thing to the left and made it as symmetrical as I can. So a lot of wood's going to get removed on this edge right here. That's the low side. So the bowl will be over here and it'll be symmetrical in this direction, and it'll be pretty symmetrical in this direction. Not perfect, but we'll see when we get going how it looks. So yeah, this is going to be a nested set of live edge, natural edge bowls. This will end up being the top. This will end up being the bottom. I want to get going on this because you can see maybe there's a nice crack right here that goes about 1 inch in, maybe 2 inches in. But I think once I set this up as a bowl, I'll turn that away and we'll get rid of that crack. So that's why I'm picking up this piece right now. You can see the nice heavy grain on the mimosa. So let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. It's about 25 years of growth right here. So that, you know, this piece was probably 30 years old, maybe, this trunk. So yeah, it's a nice piece of mimosa, nice and big. We're going to make nested bowls out of it. So let's get going. We're all ready to mount up. So I'm going to take this over to the lathe, mount it by the faceplate, and we will start turning. Thanks for joining me, and don't forget, always enjoy the process. Sometimes that's all you get. Not today though, we're going to get nice bowls out of this. Thanks for joining me, let's go. All right, because this is mounted just slightly off center, I expect this to be pretty unbalanced in the beginning. So we're probably going to have to go with a pretty slow turn. We're going to end up taking off quite a bit right in here, this corner. So let's get out our beefiest bowl gouge. I've got a 1/2 inch bowl gouge here. That's the biggest one I got. I'm going to go sharpen it and then I'll be back and we'll get going. All right, here we go. The first step's going to be starting on this surface, bringing this up and getting rid of a lot of this extra material. All right, it's 263 RPM. So in order to core this from this side, I'm going to need a large tenon on this side, probably about 4.5 inches. So that's what I'm stopping here for. I'll get this kind of rounded up and a little less out of balance, and then I'll come in here and build the 4.5 inch tenon. really destroying the end grain here. Look at that. That's unfortunate. Not a lot of wood there. Might have to try to soak that with something, otherwise I'm going to lose a lot here. Let me go sharpen up and see what happens. So right now I'm looking for the final shape. This edge is clean. This edge is clean. So I've got the outer edges. I still need work right here to get this up to the top. So right in here. Just right across this. So let's see if we go a little deeper, if this maybe gets better. Not super optimistic, but we need to do it anyway, so. I think I'm going to take off more off this corner and see if we can get behind this. I'm not super optimistic, but it'll be a more graceful shape anyway. I'm going to establish my tenon so I can see where the bottom is really going to be. To do the coring, I really need a large tenon, about 4.5 inches by at least 1/2 inch, maybe an inch tall, so that you chew up a lot of wood on the base when you do that. If you don't have a big enough tenon, it won't stay on when you do the coring, so it's essential to have a good tenon. Okay, now that we have a nice chunky tenon on here, you can see how much wood we're going to lose, so I can keep going off this corner and still, maybe we'll get behind this mess. Still not optimistic, but we can try. Bowl still has a pretty non-graceful chunky shape, so I think I just need to keep going here. While I'm cutting, I'm actually looking up at this edge up here to check the shape. And I'm looking for a nice graceful kind of curve there. And I'm not there yet. Give this a probe and see how far in it goes. It goes in far, so I'm gonna have to put something on that to secure it. And I'm not quite sure what or when to do that. For now, I'm just going to leave it. I think I've got pretty close to a reasonable shape here. I can go in just a little bit more still, right through here. Alright, we have our shape. We have our tenon. Tenon looks reasonable. Clean up that inside corner just a teeny bit with the detail gouge. Having a flawless tenon is really, I found, pretty much essential to get good coring and maintain a good grip on the tenon. This looks pretty good, so I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to leave this for now. Let me bring you in so you can have a closer look. I'll bring you in so you can have a closer look at what I'm talking about. There. So this is decent wood on this side, a little bit of tear out here, but this is nice wood here. But when you get around to this end grain here, it's punky and you can see it just kind of falling apart. So I'm gonna have to treat this with something. I don't know what yet or when I'm gonna do that. But for now, I'm just gonna leave it. I think it'll be okay through the coring process. I'll probably have to saturate it with resin or something like that. There's just not enough material there to do anything else. So leaving it for now, and we'll move on to the coring step. All right, so I've got a nice solid tenon back here. Solid connection all the way around with the foot or the base of the jaws. Could even be a teeny bit smaller to close this gap a little bit more, but I think it'll be okay like this. This is a 4.5 inch tenon on a one-way stronghold chuck with the tower jaws number 4, I think those are. They might have one bigger than that, but this tends to be good for what I'm doing. So off we go. Hopefully it stays on the chuck. All right, so I've got the Woodcut Tools Bowl Saver Max 4 set up for coring. I've got the large blade on, and I've got it set up to cut in at about an inch. Maybe a little more than an inch here and maybe an inch out here. For wall thickness for this outer bowl. So we're gonna go ahead and see what happens. This is where things get scary sometimes. I've got it set up for an RPM of 400 roughly to start. Here we go. So you can see what's going on here. So it's cutting just the outermost part of the channel. I haven't reached fully circular cuts yet. So you can see the blade and then you can't see the blade. Whew. Hate when that happens. All right, we've got one bowl cord out. One bowl cord out and next one to go. So I'm going to set this aside. Coring is stressful. All right, beautiful. So I'm going to set this one aside for the moment. Now, in order to do another core on this one, I need to be able to flip it around and mount it to put a tenon on here. And so that means I need to put the faceplate back on. Okay, so I put the faceplate back on the top of this core, and I need to add another 4.5-inch tenon on here. Probably need to go just a teeny bit bigger than this line. So right about there. All right, we're ready to start the second core. Got it mounted by the new tenon, middle blade, 400 RPM. There we go. Another core done. That one went pretty quick. So this wet mimosa is coring pretty easily. I did this yesterday with some semi-dry maple. It's probably, I don't know, 20%, 30% moisture. And it was catching and catching. It was really hard to get through. This is going much easier. And I really think it's just because this is wet and just softer wood. But I can take this one off. It's another nice core. And we'll get our last bowl out of this. I don't think I'll bother doing a small core out of this. I think I'll just turn it. All right, I've got this last core mounted between centers. I'm just gonna add a smaller tenon on here, and then I'm just gonna hollow the top with a bowl gouge. All right, it's time for the last bit of turning for this piece. So I've got a tenon on the back here. Just a little tenon. I'm just going to be hollowing with a coring tool, or with a bowl gouge. So into extreme needed here, just a good connection. Alright, we're locked in, ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and start turning here. Pretty good. All right, you can see the water spinning out of this on the end grain. So there you have the third core. Looks good. And there's the set. So there's the set of 3 ready to dry. So I'm going to set these aside, let them dry, and then I'll come back to them, put the foot on, fix this punky spot on the large bowl. Looks like the punky spot goes through a little bit onto the medium bowl. Doesn't make it to the small bowl. So we'll deal with those later. For now, they got to dry, so I'm going to set them aside and off we go.